Happy Thursday, everyone. Today is Data Talk Thursdays with Dan. Today's topic is current and future impact for home buyers and home sellers. This is the third and final video in the three-part series in response to the court ruling on Tuesday, October 31st, against the National Association of Realtors. Just to recap from the previous video, on Tuesday, the National Association of Realtors, as well as some other realty brokerages, were found guilty of commission inflation and collusion. We discussed collusion in the previous video. Check out my YouTube page to get caught up. But this court ruling, as I mentioned weeks ago, would be a landmark case that will impact housing going forward, and it'll already have impact now. So as a home buyer, how will that impact you? Well, if you haven't bought a home yet, if you're still renting, if I were in your shoes, I would make purchasing a home a priority. Why? How much has your rent increased in the last 5 years? When you answer that question, that will answer my question of why you should make purchasing a home a priority. The levels of appreciation that we've seen in housing, even in as few as the last 2 years, has been very substantial. And you're missing out on that opportunity to participate in those homes appreciating. That's the first thing you should consider, making, again, becoming a homeowner a priority. The second thing that you should look into is down payment assistance. There are state programs, there are local and county and city programs. Also, lenders have programs that can help buying a home more affordable. But one thing that you'll have to understand is that first home that you buy may not be your dream home. And if you ask me, I think that's what may be keeping you on the fence about becoming a homeowner. You want that dream home now. When I bought my home in 2014, I realized that that first home, that wouldn't be my dream home. But it's a home that I've lived in for nearly 10 years now and have been able to see that appreciation double. When I was renting, there was no appreciation. There was no value coming back to me as a renter. I didn't understand homeownership at that time, but fortunately, I had a realtor who was able to explain the process to me and help me make a knowledgeable choice in where I chose to live. And then one more thing you should consider is what other sources or resources can you ask for funds for buying a home from? Maybe you have a grandparent or a parent who can help take on some of the cost of affording a home. If you don't ask, they won't know that you may or may not need help. So keep those things in mind as we now navigate the housing market in result of the new ruling from Tuesday. Now, if you're a home seller, how will this impact you? Well, one thing you might see is a even slower process of selling your home. Well, why do you ask? Or why do I say that? Well, for one reason, it's going to be even more challenging if your home is in that price range of a first-time home buyer that you're selling to. It's going to be even more challenging for you to find a ready and willing buyer who's qualified. Again, that cost that you in the past, that sellers in the past were compensating those buyers agents for, that cost will now be passed on to the buyer. That cost doesn't just go away. That cost will now be passed on to the buyer. And it's up to that buyer to negotiate with their buyer's agent what the cost will be. Now, I'm an agent who is very attentive to my clients' needs. So I can communicate my value that I bring to this deal with my clients. So that's one thing to consider as a home seller. Your time that the property that you're selling may sit on the market, there may be more time that it takes for someone to actually be ready to buy that property once it is available. Because think about it, they've taken the last year, the last 2 years to get prepared to buy the house. And then overnight, the cost has increased nearly seven to $10,000 just to compensate their realtor. That's going to impact you directly. Your house that hits the market today, if you choose not to compensate the buyer agent, that's your choice, and you have that right. That should have been discussed before you listed that property. But if the buyers who have been searching for months and were approved and pre-approved at a certain amount, their debt to income has now changed. Their budget has now changed. So they may need more time to get prepared to buy that house, which means more time you're waiting to sell that house. Now, I've helped people buy and sell houses. It can be a very stressful process, but if we're cooperating to get the house sold, things will continue to go smoothly. Now, if you have questions about how to sell your home effectively and efficiently or buy a home affordably, contact me. You all have a great day.